go.
Where are we?
The Matrix is structured like a building. It rests atop a foundation that is built upon a substructure. We're standing in a programmer's maintenance passage. It is how I escaped.
Escaped?
I have been held captive in a chateau in the mountains by an exile named the Merovingian. He imprisoned me for my keys.
You will find I lack the virtues of both tolerance and patience. Au travail.
But even he cannot keep me from playing my part in what will come. My purpose, I have seen, is entwined with your own.
What purpose?
It's a very special key, meant only for the One. Will you bring it to him?
What does it unlock?
The future.
Anyone moves, and her brains are Jackson Pollock.
Drop it!
I see we're just in time. You didn't think we left that door unlocked by accident, did you?
Uh-huh. I think he did. Look at his face. That's just like a human.
This mustn't happen.
It already has.
You must stop them. They'll ruin everything.
What is so important about that key?
The key is integral to the path of the One.
Why don't you just make another one?
Once it is used, it cannot be used again. They will bring about the end of everything.
No reception.
We need to get that key. See if you can call Sparks from the roof.
Greetings, I am Solidus-Skully, and welcome back to the Enter the Matrix commentary. Doing honestly, what is one of my favourite missions in the game. Well, bit of a weird thing going on actually, because while we are going to be showing off Niobe a little bit, we do also have a section where this is mainly going to be a ghost thing. The reason why Niobe's parts are here is for two reasons that I'll get into a little bit later, but we have an upcoming cutscene which, well, leads into a little, editing snafu that I decided to show off because, well, you know what, I'll explain it when we get to it. Just for the time being, we're in the Merovingian Chateau, it's very nice looking, and, well, I'm sure nothing bad will ever happen to Niobe right here. Now, you might be wondering why Niobe was knocked out, and no, this isn't a dream sequence she's having, because that's just where I placed it in the editing timeline. But yeah, after getting knocked out by Vlad, who was the vampiric fellow who kind of activated her phone through telekinesis, I guess. Yeah, basically, this is meant to be a section far later on in Niobe's story where, basically, and this is accounting for both Niobe and Ghost, yeah, you face off against Cujo, another one of the Merovingian's programs who is, well, I guess meant to be a representation of one of his, hounds, so to speak. Again, I think similar to that of the fire ants from the Matrix Path of Neo and the, Doberman, which are also running around the place and Enter the Matrix. The reason why I wanted to show off this little boss fight was mainly because when I was recording this as Ghost, basically I had a bit of a recording fuck-up and, well, let's just say, I couldn't really show it off because it was kind of unusable. So, I mean, that's why I'm showing this off as a pseudo-dream sequence for Niobe, because... And another thing that I will get into is that on both characters' stories, either Niobe or Ghost is going to be captured by the Merovingian. And, this depends on which character you're playing as, and whoever you do choose to play as, they basically have to go off and rescue them. So, yeah, both end up fighting Cujo. I believe Niobe also has two exclusive... Actually, no, she does. So, yeah, the reason why I'm showing off Niobe doing this is mainly because, well, recording fuck-up. But I mean, otherwise, the only two parts of Niobe's storyline in the Chateau that I'm going to be showing off are her two fights with Vlad, which was the vampire dude that knocked her out. I don't know. That might also do really... well, I mean, I guess to get into the fight itself, again, maybe I'll get into that a little bit more with Vlad since we don't really seem to have a lot of time here, but... You know, Cujo is a pretty challenging boss. He can dodge a lot of your attacks, has a lot of killing blow sort of moves. But I mean, you know, if you've been playing the game up to this point, you should be pretty proficient at it. That and the music is also really damn good, so yeah, it's all good in the hood around here. Take that. Oh yeah.
I know I should take you to the Merovingian, but the thing is, he might just kill you.
Yep. Now, the thing about the vampires is, again, you might notice our weapons are a wooden stake. Yeah, that's because unlike the Matrix path of Neo, where you could basically just shoot down the vamps and Doberman with, you know, guns and everything, yeah, in Enter the Matrix, you basically have to beat the shit out of them, wait until they're dazed, and then stab them with a wooden stake. It's nothing too bad, just beat up the enemies as you normally would, and I believe Niobe will automatically stab them, provided you use the attack button. Again, it's regular combat, but I mean, the enemies you get to face are pretty unique. I mean, you get vamps, Doberman. You know, it's nothing too bad, really. And unlike agents, you can use guns on them, similar to what you could with the Matrix path of Neo. It's just that you have to do the stabbing animation to finish them off. Kind of like a Silent Hill monster, really. You just gotta give them the good old hearty stomp. But yeah, after a time, you enter into a fight with Vlad, who's basically testing Niobe's resolve. I'm gonna be showing off the 2 Niobe battles with Vlad because, well, they're unique to her story, and well, I mean, I like the music that plays. It's 15 Minutes of Fame by Clawfinger, and honestly, like, from a character perspective, I kind of like Vlad, and he's criminally underutilized in this game. I mean, it's gothic to the extreme, but I mean, I love his design. I don't know, I mean, I like the fact that he's a recurring enemy, but he's kind of similar to Asian Guy, in the sense that he's just sort of randomly there for, like, a boss battle, and that's kind of it. I don't know. Like, I mean, potential for future spin-offs, I guess, but I mean, who knows, really. And anyway, we're gonna do a little bit of a splicey-wacing to connect us to the next Vlad boss battle, because you do have another chunk of level before you get back to Vlad, but I mean, once you enter Persephone's bedroom, yeah, we enter into our second fight with Vlad after we take care of his 2 little, pawns right there. And, yeah, we also have our 1911 pistols, because this Chateau is very old-timey. I don't know. And we have the music kicking up again, which is so fucking sick, dude. I guess, to talk a little bit about, you know, in terms of bosses and everything, you might find that a lot of the bosses are very, very, consistent within the game's very limited combat schema, but I don't know, like, I mean, for as limited as it is, there's something about Enter the Matrix's combat system in terms of grapples, kicks, and punches that just... Well, I mean, I wouldn't say it's quite mechanically satisfying, but I mean, for what's there, it's engaging enough to, you know, last out on, is what I want to say. Like, I mean, it sustains its gimmick long enough to the point where you won't really get bored using, you know, hand-to-hand combat, and likewise, you know, when you're using guns and all that sort of stuff. I don't know, it feels natural. Again, I don't think a lot of the enemies, well, I guess with the exception of Cujo and Vlad, if you let them, have a lot of those, you know, massive super moves, you know, where they activate killing blows. Again, it's nowhere near as liberal as what the Matrix path of Neo had, since, you know, that game kind of went a little gung-ho on those sorts of killing blows, but I mean, you know, if you know what you're doing, you can really get the drop on Vlad, which is how I prefer it, because, I mean, if you're good at the game, then you can womp it no problem. But alas, Vlad is dead, we will never hear of his character again, much to my shame. And, well, this is the end of Niobe's part in the story. She's basically just, well... Yeah, basically what happens is it's either Niobe or Ghost that gets kidnapped, so we're just gonna pretend that Niobe just suddenly fell asleep after having a very lengthy battle, and, well, you know, she ends up captured by the Merovingian. I suppose the implication is also that if it's not Vlad, then perhaps it's Cain and Abel who kidnap her, considering the fact that they're with her in the cell during her cutscene. But anyway, this is Ghost's portion where he goes through a much different level than Niobe. And he also faces a lot more of the Doberman rather than the vamps that Niobe was facing off against. Which I guess is pretty cool since it does diversify the enemies enough and, well, in turn also kind of explains how Ghost got his, you know, wooden stake. Slice. I don't know. I really do like the Chateau as a level, like, comparatively, well, I mean, obviously comparatively to the sewers it's a breath of fresh air, but I don't know, like, for as very ancient as the graphics are, you get, like, a very nice, diverse set of scenery. Like, I mean, it is all generally within the theme of the Chateau, but I don't know, the lighting here is actually really good. The settings change themselves up and up so you don't end up getting bored of just endless corridors or, you know, the same sort of thing every now and again, and, well, on the whole, it's just a very beautiful looking area. And I suppose at the end of the day, like, I mean, it's enough to keep you visually interested. Like, I mean, like here, you get to see a lot of the very naturalistic areas that, you know, you'd see the Merovingian dealing with. Like, I mean, you see a kitchen, you can see his office, you know, courtyards, attic, all that sort of stuff. I don't know. It's enough to keep me engaged, and it, honestly, it allows us to explore the Chateau in a much greater degree that I don't think the movie ever really showcased. And even the Matrix Path of Neo, really, since that kind of jumped from the main hallway, which we saw in the beginning, right to distorted dimensions, which, I don't know, I appreciate it for its trippy value, but I mean, at the same time, I guess I probably didn't want to redo, like, all of the same sort of stuff they did in Enter the Matrix, so, yeah, we get to see more of the Merovingian's lovely, lovely place. And I suppose I should probably get into, well, I guess maybe the enemies themselves. Mainly in terms of what they represent, because these aren't just generic... Well, I mean, they are generic goons, but I mean, in terms of what they aren't just generic people hired for money. These are legitimate programs. I mean, as the Oracle mentioned all the way back in The Matrix Reloaded, if you've ever seen a ghost, alien, werewolf, or vampire, that's a rogue program. Something that was initially designed to, I don't know, be the sunlight or the breeze against your face. You know, programs that were meant to be invisible but ended up either taking a life of their own, or were so outdated and feared deletion that they either had to return to the source for deletion, or sign up with a Merovingian and basically do his bidding. It is really interesting, actually, because I remember watching a couple of documentaries about The Matrix Reloaded a while ago, and I think it was, I can't remember the actor's name, but he was a dude who played the Merovingian, who I think explained some of the symbolism behind what the Merovingian actually was. Which I believe was meant to be blood descendant of Christ, which I guess explains part of his narcissism when it comes to, well, his existence, and I guess the way he sort of places values and things, like how he loves the French language because it's like wiping your ass with silk. It's a very interesting thing to consider, considering that he's basically made a home for all these programs, and it does really make you wonder how old some of these programs are, because I mean, the Oracle was considered one of the oldest, I believe, so Merovingian, I'm curious to see how old he is. I mean, I guess part of something that I did also theorize, again, this is completely, could be me talking out of my ass, but I always kind of like the train of thought that the Merovingian was created around the time of the second version of the Matrix, where it was designed to be more of like a torturous hell world, I believe, gone by the Animatrix. You know, because considering that the first Matrix was a paradise world, as Agent Smith mentioned, the second Matrix, I believe, was meant to be like a sort of torture place, which I think the Merovingian probably would have thrived there, because, again, if you remember back to the Matrix Path of Neo, and even down in Enter the Matrix, really, when you saw all the programs being tortured in the dungeons, you know, kind of makes sense. But then again, I can't really say for sure. I'm not sure if there's any comics or whatever that contradict that, or, you know, if there's expanded material that says to the contrary, but that's just my 2 cents. And also we use the rarely used climb ability, which looks kind of ridiculous because it's basically Ghost just doing his little Spider-Man thing. Again, like, I mean, I kind of criticized it during the sewer level, but I mean, the lighting in this level is actually really good, so maybe it was like a development crunch kind of thing that was really hindering shiny entertainment, because, like, I mean, even for old video games who don't really have complex lighting engines, if at all, like, I mean, if you know how to work the lighting with the you know, graphical textures, since that kind of was how they utilized lighting for, like, very rudimentary systems, particularly handhelds as well, as they got into some of the pseudo 3D kind of stuff. I don't know, like, I mean, it looks relatively decent, unlike those fire effects, which are just sort of, like, popping up everywhere. And, no, unlike the fire ants, you can't kick the people into the flames and they explode. But I mean, like I said before, stuff like this keeps you engaged, because things are changing and, well, keeps it exciting. You know, you're gonna kick the crap out of people, there's flames everywhere. Adds a nice sense of visual spice and contextual danger, really. This is the sort of thing that I honestly think that the sewer system lacked. And, you know, had the sewer missions had more exciting stuff like this, you know, it honestly would have cut repetition in half, honestly. Well, I mean, that and also what I mentioned previously with having a few lines of dialogue to kind of contextualize the captains a little bit, you know, get you to care about them. I don't know. Hell yeah. Like, I mean, the moves might be very similar, but I'm glad the animations are changed up enough so that it kind of cuts repetition in half when you're stabbing people with your stake.
Ghost, I'm getting bad reception. You need to get to the office. Can you hear me? The office.
Yeah, that's another thing I should also bring up. Part of the reason, and I think this was also brought up in The Matrix Reloaded itself, is that part of the reason why it is very hard to track down the Merovingian is because, well, since he is one of the older programs and has this grand domain really set up, yeah, people from Zion can't really access it quite as easily. Or at the very least, they don't have easy contact with their operators, which, well, I'd imagine for a team is quite essential. And I think it also means that, yeah, you're not going to be jacking out of this place very easily, so yeah, that's probably part of the reason why the Merovingian is considered one dangerous customer. Huh, that's... You know, I honestly thought the glass wasn't shattering there until I saw the... whatever. Effects, rush development, whatever. But I mean, like I said, it is nice to be outside again. And yeah, as a bit of a unique weapon, we also get crossbows. Which, I don't think we get quite yet, or possibly a little bit later, but... yeah, it does become... well, I mean, it's very limited in ammo, but I believe it does, you know, do some significant damage, if not impaling... excuse me. If not impaling the, Doberman, so... yeah, it's worth it, dude. I don't know, there's just a lot to this level that is, you know, that I'll appreciate, because it has these very... it has these very unique elements to it, which just, you know, make it exciting for you to explore and just come across new things. I guess, so I can summarize it reasonably a lot better than I did, is that it knows when to change things up to keep things fresh, and in a level that is always appreciative. I don't know. I guess if there is really anything else to say about the combat is that, well, I love the fact that you can use, like, grabs and throws, really, which is one of the few things that I will actually put Enter the Matrix above Partheneo in, is that, you know, while Partheneo gave you all these, like, really sick and radical moves that you could pull off, they didn't really do a lot in terms of, like, grabs and throws where you could, like, snap people's limbs and stuff. And I kind of wish the combat system did a little bit more with that, like having this very early 90s period Steven Seagal style thing where you snap people's necks and, you know, break their limbs and shit. I don't know. Just something, I guess, to consider for a future Kung Fu game to kind of differentiate itself from the very sluggish, like Demon Souls-esque sort of combat, but also not quite going to the lengths of, like, Devil May Cry or whatever. I don't know, just something to mull over, I guess. But on that note, we have a couple of cutscenes about to end the part with, so I guess on that note, I am Solidus-Skully, keep it new metal, and next time on the Enter the Matrix commentary, well, we're gonna find out that Niobe was kidnapped, and it's up to Ghost to save the day. Yeah, I guess even though character-wise, Niobe would probably be more so the one who would be saving Ghost, but I say too much, so on that note, catch you later, dudes and dudettes. Bye-bye. And bye-bye to you, Doberman. Let's go.
I turn my back for 1 second and you disappear into the mountains. What happened back there?
Sparks, I need your help.
And Niobe needs yours.
What?
She's in pretty bad shape. They're holding her somewhere in the lower levels, but for the life of me, I can't figure out how to get there from where you are. There's something wrong with that place. The architecture's all screwy.
Where's the last place you saw her before they took her to the lower levels?
The library.